Okay, back again in Emoji Gaming. So I tried to do one more video, perhaps, I'm not sure. But yeah, hopefully it will not get interrupted, since this is still a pretty long video, because it was 35 minutes of video of playing the first games that was available to me on the Nintendo Switch that I just recently bought from my college friends. So the first games that I can play is the Cuphead, because for the physical games he decided not to sell me, because for some reason the Nintendo Switch physical game can still be worth for several money, so that's the reason why.
And his Pelbug Man, they like to roll the dice. By
First game seems to be like the classic games that probably used to be a popular cartoon during the World War II, perhaps, I'm not sure. Because yeah, I think they also tried to make the games a little bit rusty, have rusty video effects, just like the game, just like the cartoon that used to be available during that time. But yeah, it's probably one of the first cartoon that have the color as well to be aired on the TV. Not sure. It seems to be pretty weird. This is probably like a kid's game. But yeah, it's still definitely a paid game, so not free ones like any kind of games that you find on the mobile, because obviously the Nintendo Switch is still a console which didn't support any kinds of advertisement that you often get as a free mobile games. So that's the reason why Apple tried to provide the Apple Arcade to make the application or your phone or any kind of Apple devices into a console. But yeah, basically it's not easy to make that kind of things, because for some reason Apple Arcade is some sort of subscription like the Xbox Game Pass perhaps. But yeah, maybe the resources or the developers that basically can dedicate the games into the Apple Arcade, it's just not enough. So that's the reason why Apple Arcade still can't match the console quality games. So it's more like a Nintendo Switch quality games, I'm not sure. Because yeah, it seems to be like the name. It was just an arcade, so most of the games are pretty easy to be completed. But at the same time, it is also can be played over and over again if you're not really easy to get bored. Yeah, for some reason it's just pretty weird as well to see this game is actually a kid's game or not, because it seems to be pretty iconic. It's really a kids dedicated cartoons. Because yeah, if you talk about the old cartoons that was used to be available during the childhood, most of it is actually pretty mature and really try to provide an interesting or unique story, just like the Courage and Cowardly Dog perhaps, which is one of my favorite, especially when they try to explain horror story in a cartoon. Maybe kind of like a creepypasta, but in the form of a cartoon. So each of the games were probably weighs 4 minutes, so there's still 30 minutes remaining. So probably there's still 7 games that I try to play on this Nintendo Switch. I'm not sure. So the second games was the messengers. I'm not sure whether it is like a PlayStation 1 game's quality. But yeah, this is just so bad. I just don't get it why my friends decided to play this kind of game. That maybe it's just don't try to utilize the powerful processor or the NVIDIA Tegra X1 graphics in the Nintendo Switch at the maximum possibilities, because yeah, basically can run a fair some of the PlayStation 3 games that try to be ported into Nintendo Switch, even though if you talk about the custom firmware of Nintendo Switch, they try to install Android operating system inside it, so it can basically play any kind of Android-based application or emulators. But I'm not sure whether it is actually pretty powerful or not, especially when you try to compare with the ARM or the ARM processor, such as the highest Snapdragon, perhaps. I'm not sure, because yeah, that's the reason why I'm still trying to do it officially instead, because for some reason Nintendo Switch emulators already exists as well right now in the PC, but I'm not sure whether it's actually available on the mobile, because yeah, it will be pretty weird to be able to do that on the mobile, because yeah, Nintendo Switch gonna be need to upgrade its processing limitation, but yeah, it will be pretty tricky as well, because technically, just like any other console, every time you try to upgrade into a better version, it's more recommended to do a whole new generation of console rather than make it as a pro version, like when they tried to do it on the PlayStation 4, which is, for some reason, it is pretty weird, because it's still playing the same games, just with a different resolution. Just don't get it why this game is just so hard to be played, so I cannot reach the top. Then all of the ninjas is already reached it. Not sure, because it was be an endless ninja as well. Man, this is just pretty annoying. Man, it's basically making me tired watching. I was trying to do this over and over again. So am I gonna be surrender? Yes, I will surrender. Play this game is just too annoying. Maybe because of I was actually playing using the drifting Nintendo Switch Pro controller. I'm not sure. So that was all of this second game. So it's probably already had a similar amount like the first game, which is around 4 minutes, perhaps. I'm not sure. So the third game is more like a limbo games, even though the limbo is also exists on Nintendo Switch, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, I think my college friends also tried to mod limbo. This time is more like a console focus, perhaps, rather than limbo that used to be a PC games. Because yeah, this game was developed using Unreal Engine 4 as well, so that's the reason why this game is also available on the higher console, higher graphical processing power, such as PlayStation 4, perhaps. I'm not sure. But yeah, it still technically feel like mini games for me, but with a little bit improvements because yeah, it was created based on a very good engine to create AAA games, but yeah, they tried to do it with a different perspective instead. So my iPhone battery is obviously already drained below 80% because at the time that I was finished the previous video, the portrait orientation of Lightning to HDMI, that I was trying to record the games that was basically play on one of the Indonesian marketplace. I was already my battery, iPhone battery is already on the 78%. So right now it's just keep draining, obviously, because I decided to continue creating Animoji. I don't know until when because there is still two more videos that was not in a folders, which is the Shadow 4, but it's actually short, a little bit shorter video than this one. It's only 20 minutes. The games that I was basically one of the cheapest PlayStation 4 games that I tried to sell, even though for some reason it was actually supposed to be the sequel to the popular Shadow of Mordor games, but yeah, I only tried to sell it for $7 in order to make it sold for some reason. So it's just pretty dark in this game. It's definitely, even though we are playing as a kid, but this is one is definitely not the kid's game because if I'm still a kid, I'm definitely pretty scared of this game, perhaps. I'm not sure. Yeah, just like what the games tried to told us from the title, obviously. For some reason, because of the HDMI Video Capture, it's just making this game even darker than it used to be. So for some reason, I definitely need to adjust the brightness. But since this is basically the progress from the previous owners, so yeah, because I just wanted to test it, so yeah, I decided to play it directly instead. So basically, the Little Nightmare is actually we are not only playing as a child, perhaps we are actually playing in some sort of little or giant world. I just don't get it because the block of chains in the previous place is just so big, and the bed is as well. Maybe it was basically just a fictional world that I just don't understand what is the main objective of this game. So yeah, I probably will close this game and try to find other games instead. Even though I think most of the games, because yeah, it's not, because I don't really like it, so that's the reason why I just don't understand why this game is supposed to be. So I decided to quit the games after a similar length, but I think it's longer than the two previous games, so it's around 5 minutes perhaps. I'm not sure. I'm not sure whether in the future I will try to separate this video into short video or not, because yeah, definitely if I try to combine it, not all of the games will able to be put on the titles of the YouTube videos, because yeah, the YouTube video title is just limited and force you to make it as simple as possible. Maybe because it was used by their search engine optimization in order to make or recommend the video effectively to the users. So this is already fourth games. I think I got interrupted, so I tried to pause for a minute. Okay, I finally got another free time, which is still in the same day, so but I'm not sure whether I will still continue to create another Animoji for the other two game footage, which is basically outside the folder. Because if you talk about the footage that inside the folder, that's still more than 5 more videos, which is basically impossible. So probably next week I will try to continue on that. Besides, I actually wanted to focus on processing the video as well, because there are already so many videos that basically needs to be processed and uploaded, and I'm not sure whether I'm able to do that because some of the videos has so big length and yeah, talk about the big length for the iMovie, it's just pretty annoying, especially when it seems to be trying to create some sort of a cage that basically made your storage decrease in terms of free space. And yeah, it's so when the process seems to be not able to be completed, the caging process, so we can actually stop the process, but at the same time we are trying to stop the process, the caging will never be delayed unless we are trying to do with another video that basically or should be shorter than way much shorter, because that's the only way to clear up the cache of the iMovie. So this is already the fourth game, which is one of the games that basically pretty popular in the mobile, if I'm not mistaken, and for some reason it is also here on the Nintendo Switch, obviously, even though there are some other alternatives which is basically a little bit more popular than this. If you talk about the Nintendo Switch exclusive games that pretty much has a similar gameplay like this, which is I really hate, because it basically reminds me of a Pokemon or Harvest Moon, I'm not sure, because yeah, these games was actually inspired by those old nostalgic games, and for some reason I don't really understand, because yeah, basically it should be an open world, but yeah, I just can't stand it. Maybe because I'm just too often playing other open world games that are more, I don't know, much more different, because yeah, Grand Theft Auto is obviously a different kind of games. It's basically played by most of it were boys. Even though we are trying to use female character instead. So this is actually the 5th game, so I'm not sure whether this is most likely just a weird or the games that focus on the motion control, even though I'm actually playing this without motion control, so I'm using the Pro controller directly. So yeah, for the Mario Kart, sadly it was a physical game that tried to be bought by my friends. Maybe because he just tried to bought it recently, I'm not sure. So shake the Pro controller to throw. I'm not sure whether my Pro controller is supported to have motion control or not, because yeah, my Pro controller is not in the best condition, so most likely it seems to be not able to do that. So I try to stick with the conventional control. So basically, I'm already currently playing Grand Theft Auto Online right now at the time that I tried to continue this Animoji. So that's also the reason why I most likely will not continue this game, because yeah, I'm already in the middle of something. Well, basically in the free roam, but yeah, if we didn't have any idling for more than 30 minutes, it usually get kicked. In order to make the server a little bit free, perhaps, I'm not sure, to maintain the connection, because obviously maintain connection is not an easy resources and can be wasted so easily, especially when there are so many cheater or spam that try to destroy the server like some sort of DDoS attack. So yeah, just pretty annoying. So I tried to do or join another server, which is basically public, but it's basically a crew public, so it should be a little bit more quiet. And basically, it's pretty much like an invite only or closed session, private session. So basically, if you talk about the latest generation of Grand Theft Auto Online, so you're already able to play a solo session all the time. Because if you try to play in the older generation of including the PC, so you can play a closed session for a small period of time, but it eventually tried to make you come back into the public session, which is pretty annoying. So I'm not sure whether this crew session will do the same or not. And basically, I'm not sure whether this Mario or Nintendo exclusive game can be considered a copyright or not, because to be honest, I never tried to upload some Nintendo games before. Besides, I don't really like it either, so if it tried to be copyright in terms of video content, not sure whether we can actually remove it like a song, or even just mute song only, not the audio, the whole audio, which is pretty good feature from the YouTube, especially when their copyright content is a little bit annoying as well. So yeah, there's still 12 minutes remaining. And I just try to close this game because I don't really like it at all. It just seems to be like a sandbox to me. For some reason, I still try to save the progress instead. Maybe because someday if I try to continue playing, I would be able to continue my exploration, perhaps. I'm not sure. So if you talk about Mario, it's also will going to have a live action movie, if I'm not mistaken. Even though it should be a little bit weird. Maybe like the Sonic live action movie, which is pretty popular perhaps because they already tried to make a sequel for that movie, and I'm not sure whether the third installment of the movie will try to be created again or not, because they already tried to provide the post-credit scene in the end of the second movies. So yeah, this is actually the weirdest games that I try to play because I cannot play it at all. Maybe because it should need to be start from the beginning in order to know what the controls, because the controls, it seems to be plenty of it. And yeah, I thought it was just like Cooking Mama, which is used to be popular mini games on the PC, if I'm not mistaken. But it eventually tried to be available on mobile as well. I'm not sure. Yeah, this is pretty weird. So we can move around with cars inside this limited space. Sometimes if you talk about the games, it's also often try to be related with the free will in the real world, because at some point, for most people that basically living an ordinary life in a very long period of time, it seems to be like just like an autonomous life. So the life seems to be pretty static, and for some reason, maybe it was actually played by just regular casual gamers, unlike the one that basically tried to be working hard in their life. Maybe it was played by a gamer that's tried to be practice every day in order to be compete with other people's. So yeah, I just don't get it. So I eventually tried to close immediately. So this is already the 6 games, I guess, if I'm not mistaken. So there's still 8 minutes remaining. Yeah, seems to be pretty weird, so I decided to quit or try to continue again with a different mode of the game. So I eventually tried to quit the games and tried to find other games. And I tried to avoid the FIFA because I think I was trying to play the games in the separate videos, because I know it will be a little bit long, just like when I try to play the previous FIFA games in during the PlayStation 4. So that's the reason why. Sorry. So this is actually one of the best open world games, what many people like to say about Nintendo Switch, because yeah, probably this was like the lighter version of Elden Ring, perhaps, or even Horizon Zero Dawn, which basically I don't really like it, all of them, even though with the finest graphic quality. I just don't understand about those games, because yeah, it's just pretty sandbox and pure exploration. So for some reason, I just don't understand. Because yeah, the only things that I like is only games that basically takes place in real life. So I just wanted to reduce fictional things as much as possible. But yeah, every right now gamers are prefer to play fictional things instead, perhaps because yeah, they try to consider a video game as their own virtual reality. So that's the reason why, if we are only trying to provide similar things that basically also happen in the real world, maybe they more they will eventually get bored easily. I'm not sure, unless it was pretty good games, perhaps like the GTA 5, which is basically, if I'm not mistaken, it used to be one of the top-selling games, especially when it comes to the gross, because in order to develop GTA 5, it also has a very high cost, but yeah, it was worth it and making many people try to buy it as well, including me. Well, I may not still very far from the first early gamers, but yeah, I was first playing Grand Theft Auto 5. At the time, it was still a PlayStation 3, so yeah, it was around 2013 perhaps, because if I'm not mistaken, 2014 is the release of PlayStation 4. Even though my junior high school friend used to convince me all the time to buy a PlayStation 3 before, because during that time it was 2009, I think, until 2012 for my junior high school moments. Yeah, it's already quite old console as well, because yeah, it's almost the era, the beginning of the PlayStation 4 era, which I'm not sure whether he's still playing games or not. Because yeah, it's used to play the Call of Duty Modern Warfare in the PlayStation 3 using split screen, which is pretty interesting, even though, yeah, and if I try to talk about it right now, it may a little bit bored because it's only maximum has a two-player. I guess if it's tried to be four players and the screen is will be pretty weird to split the screen, because yeah, I used to play the games with more players in the mobile when I still own the Nokia Engage, which I already explained before, perhaps already. It is actually another different footage of Animoji. So when I tried to play the Engage when I'm still in the elementary school, so I'm still very young, I was used to play the Ghost Recon games on the Engage and can able to multiplayer until four players, if I'm not mistaken, but it's just very rare because yeah, maybe not many people love this game, or maybe it's hard to get the same time that we will spend the time together, because it was on the fourth or fifth grade of elementary school, I'm not sure, and during that time it was the start of the beginning of the teenagers, perhaps from a child. So there are so many people who's basically changed because they already fall in love, I guess, with another person. So concentrating, concentrate or focusing their time to playing with another boys is not most likely easy to be happen. So yeah, that's the reason why. Besides, I think there are other things that's basically related. Maybe because the game is also pretty big in terms of the size. So not many people like to keep those games. So if they wanted to spare more space to their memory card, which basically still very small, still in the megabyte. So 512 megabyte is the books already the biggest memory card that used to be available during that time. And I think I used to own it, and it was a very expensive memory card. Right now, I'm still technically use a very small storage of memory card for my mirrorless camera. So that's the reason why all of my unboxing video is still in the lowest quality, so it's not even HD. So that's the reason why when it's tried to be rendered on HD, it seems to be not really have good quality. So yeah, because I'm actually try to save for space, because I'm still using a 4 GB of SD card on my mirrorless camera. So yeah, we're already at the end of this video, so I think I will try to end it, since most of the other games I try not to play because it's maybe I already tried to board. So yeah, that's all.